Good morning, Rapid Freaks. Lex here, Friday Freak Out, and I'm freaking out because Hulk Hogan died yesterday. And in some ways, I don't care. If you'd asked me like at 8 years old, maybe even at 25 years old, how I felt about Hulk Hogan, I'd be devastated right now, but I'm not. When I saw that he had passed yesterday, I had no reaction. I was just like, okay, that's what happens, when you're. See, this is the thing. We've got to separate this man. Now, yesterday, Raptors official admin posted tributes to Hulk Hogan on the Raptors social media accounts. On Facebook, it's still up, but on other places, they took it down. And part of the reason why is because Raptors fans are smart. They know the whole story about Hulk Hogan. There's Terry Bollea. That's the thing. There's two different things about that person. They're totally different things. One of them's a character. One of them's licensed to Marvel because they use the word Hulk and the Incredible Hulk and Stan Lee. They, if he was going to use that name, they wanted their cut. So Vince was paying Marvel to use the Hulk name because of the Incredible Hulk, the cartoon. And well, there's also the person that was born in Georgia, some redneck parents named Terry Bollea. And trust me, I'm an expert on this subject. I know a lot about Hulk Hogan. I know more than the average person knows about Hulk Hogan because I'm a huge wrestling fan. And in some ways, I've studied the history of wrestling in a very deep way, very, very deep way. My interactions with Hulk Hogan throughout my life and seeing him in different places are very interesting because I saw Hulk Hogan in 1988 at the Tallahassee Leon County Civic Centers for my birthday. Yeah, I was 13 years old, and my parents got myself tickets with three of my best friends to sit in the front row at a WWF match in 1988. Hulk Hogan versus the $1 Million Man. That was a big deal back then because Hulkamania was running wild, and it captivated and made professional wrestling mainstream. This is all true. As much as Air Canada Carter made an effect on basketball in the world of Canada in basketball, so did Hulk Hogan to the world in wrestling. He was iconic. He changed things. He blew it wide open. He made it a huge business that made a lot of money. He is the person. There's no denying this, that he made this sports entertainment very, very popular and very, very profitable. Let's just put it that way. Now, Hogan, this is the thing. Hulk Hogan is a character. Hulk Hogan is a person we saw on TV. Hulk Hogan is somebody we should mourn. Hulk Hogan is somebody we should mourn because the idea of what Hulk Hogan is important. In some ways, fight for the rights of every man. Well, is that what USA is doing right now? No. So they need real Hulk Hogan, not MAGA Hulk, not MAGA Terry Bollea. Fuck that. Nah. Hulk Hogan was a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. He'd be fighting for those people in Alligator Alcatraz right now. He'd be fighting for the trans kids that are moving from state to state right now to get the fuck away from bad laws and possible problems. Yeah, he'd be fighting for the elderly who are going to lose their Meals on Wheels. He'd be fighting for the children that are going to lose their school lunch. He'd be fighting for the people that are going to lose their health care. That's a real American. That's what that song is all about, is fighting for the little guy, fighting for the people that need the help to fight for. That's what Hulk Hogan was all about. That's what his character was all about on TV. But sadly, the person behind the scenes was not totally true to that character. No. I could honestly say that Terry Bollea is more like Hollywood Hogan than Hulk Hogan. The character of Hollywood Hogan, where he turned heel at Bash to the Beach with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, that formed the NWO, that character is more true to the real person that died yesterday. Not the person that we knew when we were kids that told us to say our prayers, eat our vitamins, that kind of bullshit. Yeah, no. No, that's not who the real person was. That was a cartoon character. That was a role played on television. The real person behind the scenes was a dirty ass racist, and in some ways, a real piece of garbage as a person. That's just the damn truth. That's just the damn truth. I loved Hulk Hogan up until about 10, 15 years ago when an interview with Bubba the Love Sponge, private recordings came out talking a very racist language. In fact, in the recording that was taped of him, he admitted he's a racist. He self-proclaimed himself. I'm a racist, brother. Yeah, these N-words, they better not be near my daughter. These N-words this, N-words that. The man used the N-word very, very, very extensively behind the scenes. And let's not get it twisted. There's a lot of professional wrestlers from the 80s that were using the N-word left and right behind our backs, and you didn't even know it. Seriously. They're all rednecks from the South, and they're carny people, and they're low IQ, and they're shitty white trash. Of course they're going to be racist and use the N-word a lot. Ole Anderson, Bill Watts, people like Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea. Yeah, Ric Flair, another one. Racist ass motherfuckers. And the crazy thing is there's a lot of people that idolize them. That if they knew who they were behind their backs, they would be like, holy fuck, I can't. The veil was lifted on Hulk Hogan. We saw the truth about him in those recordings. And that is truly who he is. Don't try and make excuses for him. Don't try and say shit like this. Oh, no. He's just messed up. He had a bad day. Fuck that. That's not what racism is. Racism is an ingrained, characteristic, personal trait. And that man, from the day he was born in Georgia, was a racist from his parents. It's passed down. And you don't think that he taught Brooke and Nick to be racist too? Let's not be stupid. Come on. Let's not be naive. Let's not be naive. Racism is a tradition that's passed down from generation to generation. And Hulk Hogan is a part of that tradition in his family. His racist ass, backwoods, hillbilly ass Georgia family. Yeah, because that's what it is. That man's not from Venice Beach. That man's not from some crazy place like the Mount of Zeus from Mount Olympus or anything like that. No, he's from fucking backwoods, straight up ass, racist ass, backcountry Georgia. That's just the damn truth. Now, look, I went to that wrestling match as a 13-year-old. We caught Hulk Hogan's shirt. My best friend Trey caught Hulk Hogan's shirt. We ripped it off. Threw it in the crowd. And my best friend caught it. It was my birthday. It was amazing. I got a piece of his shirt. I still have it. I was really into Hulk Hogan. I was really into WWF. Yeah, I saw him wrestle a bunch of times over the years. I saw him wrestle later on in WCW at a WCW event. I saw him. I went to Skydome for WrestleMania 18 when he fought The Rock here in Toronto. And one of the greatest matches ever in the history of wrestling history. I was in that building when him and The Rock faced off. And we know our city loves Hulk Hogan. Oh, yeah, Toronto loves Hulk Hogan. In the 80s, Hulk Hogan was all over Toronto Star. They put a full-page picture of Hulk Hogan in there, a collector's poster. That I collected some of them, put them up on the wall myself. Toronto loved Hulk Hogan. Maple Leaf Sports, Maple Leaf Wrestling, Maple Leaf Gardens, Hulk Hogan. That was a big, big deal, big ticket. The heyday of Hulkster. That he was coming up here and he was wowing the crowds here in Toronto. Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, I went to that match at Skydome on March the 17th, 2002. And I saw Hulk Hogan take on The Rock. The Rock was supposed to be the good guy, but the fans rejected him as the good guy. They wanted Hogan to be the good guy. So they had to change it in the middle of the match and make Hogan the good guy. But The Rock still had to win eventually. Yeah, The Rock had to win eventually, and he did. And they did a good job. They did a fantastic job. It was actually a really good match. It may have been one of the greatest matches in Hulk Hogan's career because he showed he listens to the crowd and he can change and improvise as to what they're telling him. You know, Hulk Hogan was never a really good wrestler. He's actually a really shitty wrestler, honestly. Anybody who says, oh, he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, you're wrong. He's not a good wrestler. He's a good presence and character. He was a good presence and character, but he was a horrible wrestler in the ring. Let's not get it twisted. He had a couple moves and he couldn't do this. And not only that, he was horrible for wrestling behind the scenes. Oh, I can't do that, brother. That doesn't work for me, brother. That doesn't work for me. Well, yesterday didn't work for you, but you couldn't do a damn thing about it, could you? Because that's the damn truth. It doesn't matter if you're rich and famous. God's going to come get you at some point. You're going to be gone. They're going to bury everybody just the same. It doesn't matter if you're Hulk Hogan and you're an icon. You're still Terry Bollea, and you still go on the ground just like everybody else does. That's the thing. All these idiots that are fucking up our world now while they're alive, they're leaving a bad, shitty world for the people after us, our children, our grandchildren. And they're not even having any forethought. It's so selfish, so fucked up. Going against sustainability and going against environmental regulations right now at this point when cataclysmic climate change is happening is one of the stupidest things in the world. It's like we're inbred and we're dumb in the United States, and we're just stupid. We're stupid. Yeah, let's go ahead and open up all the factories and just emit all kinds of pollution because it's going to get better. Yeah, we're stupid. Yeah, they're dumb. I want to talk about something real quick. Hulk Hogan died less than a month after a medical procedure. Yesterday, the son of Dusty Rhodes came out. Dustin Rhodes, a.k.a. Goldust. And he said, hospitals kill people every day. Okay, Dustin. Yeah, he blames the hospital for killing his dad, Dusty Rhodes. And he thinks that the hospitals killed Hulk Hogan, too. Something's not right here. The United States is supposed to have the greatest healthcare system in the world. It has the most expensive one. That's for damn sure. So you'd think they get what they paid for. Hulk Hogan is rumored to be worth $30 million when he died, maybe even more. He could afford the absolute best healthcare in the world in the United States. But here we have the son of another wrestling legend blaming the hospitals for him dying. Does that make any sense? In some ways, you got to think about are you better off without the hospital and living, or going to the hospital and getting the medical care to try and help you? I mean, seriously, when winters this? Seriously, if the healthcare system in the United States is so fucking good, why are people blaming hospitals for killing people? Because people die in hospitals, Lex. Because there's always a chance if you go to a hospital, you might die. If you're involved in a surgery or something like that, there's always a chance. That's why we should be putting money into healthcare. That's why we should be paying for the best doctors, the best equipment, the best of things, so people can have the best outcomes to survive and live longer. If a man that's worth so much fucking money is a MAGA cocksucker and all that other stuff can't have a longer life, then your healthcare system's shitty, Trump. Seriously. And it's only going to get worse with this bill that y'all just passed. Somebody like Hulk Hogan can't be saved by the healthcare system in the United States, that everybody else is completely fucked. Yeah. So healthcare in the United States works real good. Y'all going to blame the hospitals? It's like you're going to blame the teachers for education too. It's like, where's the logic in this? Where's the stupidity? It's right there. You can see it. The inbred, dumbass, white trash, idiocy of MAGA America, Donald Trump, Terry Bollea, Elon Musk, all that bullshit. Seriously. You're going to blame hospitals. Well, you know what? If you fund the hospitals publicly and have public health care like other countries, like civilized countries in the world, maybe you'd have better healthcare outcomes with your citizens, including Hulk Hogan. Like, what the fuck? Seriously. There's a lot of things we can talk about Hulk Hogan and the difference between Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea. Sure, be sad about Hulk Hogan, the idea of what he was, dying. But to me, that idea died 15 years ago. The idea of who Hulk Hogan was died. And only Terry Bollea is who I see now. And Terry Bollea is not someone to idolize. Terry Bollea is not someone to look up to. Terry Bollea is a piece of shit, honestly. And I'll say that. Yeah, I mean, I knew it as soon as he showed up at Madison Square Garden to help Trump and get up there and do his stupid little rip his shirt. That was Terry Bollea, first of all. That was not Hulk Hogan. Because Hulk Hogan, the real American, he would beat the shit out of Donald Trump, the character, the real person. Well, he's a cocksucker for MAGA. But the character, Hulk Hogan, if he's truly what the character is portraying, would beat the shit out of Donald Trump and fucking body slam his ass and leg drop his face. That's what the real character Hulk Hogan would do. We've got to discern what is fact and fiction, what is a made-up character, and who is a real person. And the real person is Terry Bollea, and he's a piece of shit. Once again, he's an absolute piece of shit. People can make up excuses for him. They can say all they want, but it just, the brass bottom line is here, Steve Austin, is he's a piece of shit. That's just the damn truth. The man's a liar, an egotist, and in some ways, he messed up all kinds of wrestlers' careers because he had to hold on to his spot. And he couldn't do that, brother. He couldn't do that, brother. He ran from Bret Hart his whole fucking career. He never ever gave Bret Hart that Hogan versus Hart matchup because he knew Bret would outclass him and out wrestle him and make him look so much better. Yeah, call this guy a Bret Hart guy. You know why? Because Bret Hart is the real deal for both. He's not like Hulk Hogan / Terry Bollea. Bret Hart is Bret Hart / Bret Hart. You get Bret Hart as Bret Hart was. And you know what? The whole time he was doing his character, he was playing himself. He was actually saying stuff that he truly believed when he's talking about America, when he's talking about the wrestling fans, the wrestling world. Bret Hart is legit. That's what I'm saying. But he ran from Bret Hart. He was scared of Bret Hart. He never, ever let Bret Hart have a match against him. In fact, they did that convoluted shit at WrestleMania with Yokozuna and that bullshit. And everybody says afterwards, Hogan was so wrong for that, stealing Bret's thunder from that WrestleMania at that Caesar's place. Stupid bullshit. Yeah, that was messed up. Hogan had to run out there and ruin the whole moment just because he had the stroke. He had the creative control, so to speak. Yeah, the dude's a piece of crap. I'm not going to mourn him. I'm not going to mourn the person that died yesterday. The character Hulk Hogan, I'll cherish and I'll celebrate, and it'll be a part of my childhood forever. But I know how to separate them. I know how to separate them. It's amazing how many racists are coming out yelling at people for calling Hulk Hogan a racist who self-proclaimed himself as a racist. Saying, oh, you call us all racist, it makes us into more racist. No, that's not how that works. Whatever that bullshit is, people coming out saying, oh, if you call white people racist too much, it gets them mad, black people. Don't do it. Who the fuck is this movement doing this shit? Like, what the fuck kind of gaslighting is this shit? They're racist. They're racist. If you're not a racist, you don't get upset. I'm a white person. You call me a racist. Well, I'm not a racist because I'm not doing racist things in my life. I'm sorry. You can call me a racist. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But you gonna call a racist, they get all butthurt. Like, oh, you're making me more racist because you call me a racist. Well, you know what? You're probably lost cause already. You're already fucking racist. I mean, I don't get that argument. I saw that a lot yesterday on social media. People coming out, you know, I run a wrestling website. I'm the admin. I'm like 60,000 people in this group. And there's a guy who contributes in the group named Rashad, who does amazing write-ups about his memories about wrestling. And he wrote a very long column yesterday in our group about his perspective about Hulk Hogan / Terry Bollea as an African-American man. And it was eloquent. And it really separated things in a way that I just separated things and talked about it. But boy, did the people come out after him. And oh, how dare a black man tell his opinion on Hulk Hogan in his racist ass. Oh, how dare you? You're making it worse because you're calling out that he's a racist. Why can't we just be positive and celebrate the person? No. No, we need to be honest about Terry Bollea. We need to be honest about him. And that's why, in some ways, Raptors admin yesterday stepped in it when they posted a picture of Hulk Hogan with JYD in the Raptors jersey. Yeah, Hulk came to our games. He'd be sitting in the front row wearing a Raptors jersey. I love that. I was like, yeah, Hulkster. Yeah, that's awesome. He was in town. He likes sports. And you know what? Him in a Raptors jersey was cool to me. It was before, I think, still the bullshit. But still, you know, that's the thing, Raptors admin. And maybe Ed Rogers is like, yeah, put that MAGA icon up. You know, Raptors fan base is still woke. You may not be woke, new owner of the Raptors, and your bullshit from the top. But our fan nation is still woke. And in some ways, we are still very politically minded and very left-leaning. And we're very much anti-racist. And you found that out yesterday with your tribute post to Hulk Hogan and his passing. A lot of Raptors fans were down with that. They came out of the woodworks and they said, why the fuck are you putting this MAGA racist piece of shit on the Toronto Raptors webpage? That's the reaction a lot of y'all had, and I'm proud of you because that's the right reaction. Seriously. Somebody put this in the comments, said some people are just not you should not, some people are just not worthy of doing this. I'm sorry. And I agree with them. I mean, listen, if the Raptors want to do something nice, they really didn't need to. They really, really didn't need to. And fuck that MAGA piece of shit, Hulk Hogan. I mean, Terry Bollea. I want to separate him. Fuck Terry Bollea, that piece of shit. Seriously. And some people say, don't talk about a dead person like that. Yeah, you know, we're all going to die someday. We all go the same way. That's right. That's right. All right, let me get in the comments. I did 20 minutes of a spiel here. There's a lot more I can talk about with Hulk Hogan. I know a lot about Hulk Hogan. I've studied his life and his career and a lot of things about him, things that you wouldn't want to know, things that you know you could be proud of and that are pretty cool actually. But there's a lot of dark shit too, just so you know. All right, let's see what y'all are saying, man. Some ways this is going to be a little bit of a wrestling stream today, and that's fine because in some ways this is Raptors related because Raptors admin decided to post it on Toronto Raptors webpage. So yeah, Trevor J saying life is strange. We come with nothing and fight for everything, and in the end, we leave everything behind and go back with nothing. Yeah, that's why this dumbass game that Jeff Bezos is playing, Elon Musk is playing, is stupid. Seriously, you know what? You're not going to be remembered for what you think you're going to be remembered, Elon or Jeff. You're going to be remembered as pieces of shit that could have done a lot of good, but you didn't. You instead were greedy as fuck. And you did lavish, crazy-ass, idiotic things with your money instead of actually solving the world's problems. You know, it's crazy because either one of those two could absolutely change the world in a positive way if they chose to. But they don't because they're selfish little pieces of shit. And this is the great thing, is what Trevor said. They don't get to take this with them. They're going to die just like Hogan did yesterday, and they're going to leave everything behind also. Yeah, so what's the fucking point? Don't people say if you go into nature to camp, they'll leave the campground better than you found it? If you see that there's garbage near the barbecue, you're going to pick it up and throw it out because somebody didn't throw it out before? That's the best to do it. Leave it better for the person after you. Well, these motherfuckers are destroying this planet for the next person after us. And that is the children. That is the grandchildren. That is those who will inherit this earth after us. And, yeah, good job, industrialists, corporate bullshit billionaires and oligarchs and 1%. You're going to fucking destroy this world. And they're accelerating it with the recent changes in the U.S. government with the rolling back of EPA and all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, and this country is actually on the down low going with them. Mark Carney, I'm very disappointed in you. You know, using the whole threat of U.S. towards Canada to open up against deregulation. For deregulation and not regulating the environment and indigenous concerns is really, really disappointing to me. I actually am very sad that I voted for you because at this point, I'm very sad with what you're doing. I know Pierre would have been worse, so you're the lesser of two evils, but you're still disappointing the hell out of me, Mark Carney. You know, I'm going to look to WAB as my leader nationally, the premier of Manitoba. He's the best MDP out there right now, and he's the one I trust the most as far as politicians in this country. Because Mark Carney, I don't think that you're totally doing things right for the people. And I really worry that you're opening the door for American companies to come and run roughshod for our environmental rules up here. And we don't want that. We do not want that. Canada has the largest boreal forest in the world. And that's something we should be proud of and we should keep intact and open up business just for the sake of strengthening Canada's economy to be okay is bullshit. This is a guise to fucking get rid of a whole bunch of regulations that stop developers and big corporations from stripping our countryside of resources like forestry and minerals and things like that. So don't fall for this shit. In some ways, I'm very disappointed in you, Mark Carney. Very, very disappointed. Trevor's saying Zach Lowe is always talking out of his ass. Yeah, there's a Zach Lowe interview with Michael Pina that you posted yesterday that I watched. And, you know, Zach Lowe's kind of being fair, but also he's pessimistic about the Raptors. But once again, he's using the talking point that fit is curious to him about the Raptors team. He conveniently forgets about RJ Barrett. And it's funny when Michael brings up RJ, he's kind of like weird with his energy. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why people have such a weird. It's like RJ being a Canadian on the Canadian team means that he's extra, ultra, double probation, not talked about. I get it. I don't know, man. In some ways, I love you, Michael Pena, for saying it. And you were kind of acting like you weren't totally sure, but man, you should be sure. Brandon Ingram's like that. You're right about Brandon Ingram. And Scotty Barnes, you're right about him too. And Zach Lowe, you know, even though you're not working for the big companies anymore, you're on your own, man. I expect better out of you. You guys will find out soon enough. And I'm confident in them. I'm more confident in them than Michael Pena is. And we're going to kick some ass as long as we're healthy. You know, even if we're not totally healthy, the depth of our bench is going to show up. Because in some ways in that interview, Trevor, Zach Lowe isn't giving any credit to our young stars that are coming up like Shed and Grady and Jacoby. These guys are going to make a difference this year for us. And a lot of the experts don't really know how to gauge our bench. And they're like, oh, I don't know if Raptors have a bench. Well, we know we have a bench, right? Because we watch Summer League. And in some ways, anybody who's gauging the Raptors and they're kind of putting in, they don't have a bench, they're wrong. Let's just put it that way. They're wrong. Yeah. Trevor's saying that Jamal Shed had an interview with Hello and Welcome. It was very informative. He said he was going to apply citizenship and let everyone know that IQ is very smart and very hard to guard. Yeah, this interview was interesting. Shetty is joking. I don't know if he's fully going to actually apply for his U.S. citizenship. It looked like he is. He might do it, but I think he was kind of tongue-in-cheek. I don't think he was being totally serious about becoming Canadian, guys. Just so y'all know. I was reading his energy. It seemed like he was just kind of joking. I don't know if he's actually going to do it. The things about IQ were interesting. Yeah, because William Lou's asking Jamal Shed about competing in practice with people like Chucky Hepburn, Elijah Martin. And yeah, it's like that. It's like that. And then they brought up IQ because IQ has to go against these defensive stalwarts, these amazing dog defenders, and Jamal, Elijah, and Chucky. And that's only going to make Emmanuel better. In some ways, having those guys around has been probably huge for Emmanuel Quickley because he's going against some of the toughest defensive pressure you can have in his regular practices. Last year, Davion Mitchell was part of this. And this year, we got Elijah and Chucky around. And, Jacoby, too. He's an annoying defender, too. But these kind of guys will make Emmanuel a better offensive player because they have to steal, sharpen, steal in the practice. And, they're guarding the hell out of Emmanuel. But Jamal's saying is like, yeah, Emmanuel's so hard to guard. He really is. He really, really is. And I don't understand, man. Like Michael Pena said in that interview, Emmanuel Quickley missed like 49 games last year. And we didn't get a full effect of him. In fact, the weird times when he was playing for us, there were weird times in the season when nothing mattered. Either it was in the beginning and he got hurt and then, it was kind of ruining his momentum coming into the season. And then he showed up for a lot of the last part of the season when we weren't playing for anything and everybody wanted us to lose. So the full effect of Emmanuel still hasn't been felt even after a year and a half of him being a Raptor, because he hasn't really had an extended period of time where he could really get in a groove where he's healthy to show what he can be for the Raptors. That's going to be the thing that's eye-opening to people, is if he can, God willing, be very healthy this year, because last year was the most unhealthy year he ever had in his career at any level. He's going to show something different to people this year if he can be healthy. That's what I'm saying. Kaz is here. Good morning, Kaz. Good morning, Lex and Rapid Freak Crew. Good morning to you, sir. I hope you're having a great morning. Reggie's here. Good to see Smooth Brown Man, our current Saboran Cup champion of our trivia right now. Hulk Hogan was the number one reason why I watched wrestling as a child. In terms of impact on sports entertainment, he's the best to ever do it. All right, I want to suss this out fairly. I want to show the positive sides of him too. This is totally true. He's the number one reason why most people got into wrestling as a kid. And for me, the gateway was Mr. T. Mr. T was one of my favorite actors before I was into wrestling because of the A-Team. And I watched the A-Team, and well, Mr. T all of a sudden wanted to go do wrestling. He was on WrestleMania. That is the gateway that got me in there. Now, I could technically say Mr. T's the one who got me into wrestling, but the person that got me to stay into wrestling was Hulk Hogan, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I think that my story is very similar to a lot of people. It's when wrestling went mainstream, when WrestleMania was a huge event that year. And I really kind of got into it after WrestleMania happened because I was at Movie Gallery and I saw the VHS cassette tape with Hogan and Mr. T on the cover of it. I was like, oh, Mr. T's in this? I want to watch this. And boom, I was a huge wrestling fan after that. It really was the gateway like that. Your story may be similar. In some ways, I pinpoint Mr. T as the gateway for me, but Hogan was definitely there next to him and me getting in there. Yeah, even though Mr. T hardly ever wrestled, it was like then you introduce, oh, here's Hulk Hogan, and then boom, Hulk Hogan's rocking wrestling, the LGN figures, all that kind of stuff is coming at you. That's right. That's right. Let's see. As far as you saying that, you know, in terms of impact on sports entertainment, he's the best to ever do it. Sure. As long as you're not delineating he's the best wrestler. He's the most popular wrestler ever. He's also the one that brought the most people into the industry to watch it ever. Yeah, he's the biggest draw. I would say that. He's the biggest draw. Smith saying his personal life and attitudes, that's a different story altogether. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, that's a real good example open to the secrecy of white supremacy and racism. It's like, look, man, they can be a totally different thing to you in public and to your face. But behind closed doors, when they're in private, they're ugly and they have very ugly views. And, you know, in some ways they understand that if they put their views out there publicly, they will not be so popular. So they hide them. And there's a lot of people like this. There's people that you work beside every day that you would be shocked if you actually truly knew their racist attitudes underneath. This is the way this works. Racism is underneath the surface. And don't get it twisted, man. In some ways, Hulk Hogan, when he spoke in that interview, it was being his true self. A lot of people would try and make apologies for him and excuses. But no, that's the real deal him. You don't say vile shit like what he said unless you truly are a racist and you truly believe what he believed. Seymour saying him and Zeus was mad. They even made a movie, Earthquake. I always sided with his ops. Laugh out loud. I love it. All right. You like Earthquake. You want Earthquake to break his ribs. Yeah. King Kong Bundy. No, go on an avalanche. Oh, Hulk Hogan on WrestleMania 2 in that blue steel cage. Yeah. You like Zeus. Tiny Lister. Of course, Debo from the great movie Friday. Tiny Lister was an amazing actor. And yeah, he had that foray into wrestling as Zeus in the movie No Holds Barred, where Hulk Hogan holds a man up high and he shits his pants. And he says, Dookie. And Hulk Hogan goes, Dookie? Oh, man, yeah. You were always on his op sides. That's funny, man. I like that. Andre, you were hoping Andre would break him at WrestleMania 3. Andre was going to kick his ass. Yeah, that whole story with WrestleMania 3 is interesting, man. Like Hulk Hogan fucked his back up when he lifted Andre. Seriously, he really fucked his back up in that match. Like he you could tell when it popped. He's like, oh, he's like really hurt, but he covered him still and he beat him. Yeah, I like the story about that because he's like, I don't know if Andre was going to let me beat him because Andre could do whatever he wanted to. If he didn't want to let me beat him, he wouldn't let me beat him. It's hilarious, but he let him beat him. Because, you know, Andre actually really liked Hulk. Him and Hulk coming up together in some ways. Well, they didn't come up together, but Andre was around already. And he helped Hulk come up. Because in some ways, Andre always wanted good foils to go against. I mean, the man was fighting 3 guys at once at times. And when he could have a rare one person that could be a good foil against him, Stan Hansen, a Kamala, you know, a big enough player, a wrestler like Don Leo, Jonathan. You know, if you have those kind of wrestlers, Ernie the Cat Lad, you know, Andre could have a good match, Blackjack Mulligan. And Hulk Hogan was one of those size wrestlers that could have a match where it was a very plausible, good match. And you would be like, oh, who could win? So they were a good match, Andre and Hulk. So Andre liked Hulk for that reason, because they could make big money. And he was a plausible match towards the Giant. A lot of people couldn't match up with the Giant and be like, yeah, this is actually a competitive matchup. No, most of them were squash. That's it right there. Yeah, squash. That's right. But still salute Hulk. He was a real one. Yeah, he was a real. No, Terry Bollea was not a real one. But Hulk Hogan, it's tough to say. You know, I would get behind somebody like John Cena before Hulk Hogan as a character. John Cena's done so many Make-A-Wish. I know Hogan did a lot of Make-A-Wish too. But John Cena has the record. And he, like, in some ways, I have way more respect for John Cena and his work outside of wrestling than anybody else. And I'm not going to say Hogan didn't do that kind of stuff, because he did. And he was very, very good with the kids in a lot of different ways. Very, very good in a lot of different ways. That's right. Yes. Carlo JS is saying, I loved Hogan as a kid, but found out who he really was. So fuck him and his racist ass. Cool. Short and sweet, man. Short and sweet on that one, man. I'm gonna give you a dunk for that. That's hilarious. He's just like, yeah, but fuck him. 64 on the dunk charts. Yeah, it's tough, man, because it's not everybody's complicated, right? This is the whole thing about this. Everybody is complicated in certain ways. You know, there are great people that did amazing things, you know, like John Lennon. It was an amazing musical artist that brought so much joy to the world with his music and writing his music. But he was an absolute shithead in real life, an abusive person who was not very nice to people. But his music did so much. I mean, there's different people throughout history that made such huge contributions, but were absolute pieces of shit in real life. Seriously, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Fiercely's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, MJ. Hope you're having a great day. Seymour saying he should have been in Pro Stars with Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky. Well, he had his own cartoon with the JYD and Tito Santana and Fabulous Moolah and Big John Studd and Iron Sheik and Captain Lou Albano, Hillbilly Jim, Andre the Giant. Yeah, the Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling was drawn by the same people that drew the Pro Stars. And if you take the stills from Pro Stars and you take the stills from Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling, they look like they exist in the same world. You could take Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and Bo Jackson from the Pro Stars cartoon. No, they wanted real athletes for that cartoon, like really top level athletes. In some ways, I get why you're saying that. But remember, wrestling is sports entertainment. It was never real. It was never real. Seymour's saying hi to Eye Candy. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Seymour's saying, yeah, Hogan exiled his daughter because she wanted to do some songs with his rappers, facts. He said something like this was the whole racist thing that Hogan said was, I don't want my daughter with an N-word unless they're a 7-foot N-word and they're making millions of dollars. He wanted her to be with a NBA player, obviously. And it's okay if she's with somebody like Dennis, my friend Dennis Rodman. That's another thing about Hulk Hogan that's interesting to me is my favorite basketball player of all time, probably Dennis Rodman. It was very close with him. And of course, Dennis did the NWO with him, the Rodzilla. You know, Dennis is very sad about him dying yesterday. He did a tribute to him. Ric Flair did a tribute to him. He was very much crying on TMZ about Hulk Hogan dying, Ric Flair yesterday. You know, if you had told me that Hulk Hogan was going to die before some of these people, I would be shocked. I thought Ric Flair for sure was going to die before Hulk Hogan. I'm going to be honest. Seriously. I really, really have thought that. Seriously. And probably, you know, Ric Flair a couple of times probably should have died before Hulk Hogan. Whether it's the airplane crash, whether it's the health scare a couple of years ago and him not quitting drinking. Well, he's on his way. Trust me, he's on his way. Yeah. He exiled his daughter. Yeah, Hulk Hogan was funny because much like Ozzy, this is the weird thing. This is the week of people dying that had family reality sitcoms. They had the Osbournes with Ozzy and Sharon and Jack and Kelly. And then they had Hogan Knows Best with Brooke and Nick and Linda and Hulk. Yeah. Yeah, that show was interesting. Hogan Knows Best. Very, very interesting, you know. But yeah, Brooke Hogan, yeah, you can't date black guys, according to your dad, because in some ways he's very racist. And you don't want that in that kind of way around his life. Crazy, crazy. My brother's here, y'all. Good morning, freaks. Good morning to you, Carl. I hope you're doing very, very well. I know that you've been very busy this summer. It was very cool to see that you took Harry to the MLB All-Star game in Atlanta recently, and that he caught a ball from a player that was in the field, y'all. My nephew went to the MLB All-Star game just a couple weeks ago, and he got a ball from the outfielder. They threw it to him. Isn't that cool? I love that my nephew's getting to do so much fun stuff. I mean, this year he's caught a ball from the Major League Baseball All-Star game, and he also high-fived Scotty Barnes at an Atlanta Hawks game this year. So, hey, that's amazing stuff. Those are great memories, Carl. I love you so much. I love your family so much. I miss you guys. I miss you. My brother came in and checked on me this morning, guys. I love you, Carl. I miss you, man. Seymour saying, salute the Hulk motherfucking Hogan. Yes, sir, City Slicker. That's right. Smooth Brown Man saying he also screwed over Jesse Ventura. Yeah, this is an interesting story that Reggie's bringing up. And this totally shows the kind of person Hogan is. Totally shows it. And he was this way all along, honestly. In the mid 80s, the wrestlers were starting to make huge money, but Vince was making way more money. And once again, this is owners versus talent. It's just like the NBA, owners versus basketball players, owners versus wrestlers. These are the guys that are busting their ass, the guys that are putting their lives on the line, wrestling every night, and they're traveling and being away from their families. Well, Vince McMahon was an asshole. He did not compensate people correctly. All these guys who had dolls and were making so much, you thought they were making so much money. They weren't. Vince was really, really bad with pay. So Jesse Ventura and Bret Hart were getting together a union. They wanted to form a union for the wrestlers to fight with Vince to get proper pay. Well, Hulk Hogan heard about Jesse talking about getting a union together. He ratted him out to Vince. He said, Jesse Ventura is trying to start a union, Vince, and I'm your top guy, and I know you pay me so well. And in some ways, he was just being a dick as the 1% in wrestling towards the middle class of wrestling. People like the JYD, people like Kamala, people like Hillbilly Jim, people like Jesse Ventura. And Vince fired Jesse. Vince came at him and said, you're trying to start a union. You're fired, Jesse Ventura. Well, fuck you, Vince. I'm out anyway. It's that kind of shit. So Hogan was a union buster. Hogan was a snitch, and Hogan was a rat on his own compadres that he worked with. And that's sad. That shit happened in the mid 80s and around when he was at his height. That was behind the scenes. Yeah. Hogan was always in a weird relationship with Vince. In some ways, Vince loves him so much. Obviously, Vince McMahon knows that his life would not be anything like it is right now without Hulk Hogan. And in some ways, but they had a falling out for a while because Vince got mad at Hogan for going to WCW and helping the competition beat his ass, honestly. There were years in the 90s where WCW was beating WWF for ratings and money and all kinds of stuff. Eric Bischoff running it and Hulk Hogan being a big part of it. And Vince had a hard time kind of, reconciling with Hulk after that. And there's also the whole stuff about the steroid trial. But Hulkster came in and he's protected Vince. He's protected Vince every time when the shit hits the fan. There's trouble. Even if Hulk is not totally on the same page with Vince in their lives, he's always protected Vince. He's always been that kind of guy. Because in some ways, once again, Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan know each other needed each other to do what they did. They both needed each other. And in some ways, that's part of it right there. That's right. That's right. Fiercely saying, yeah, despite growing up to WWF era, I can't connect with Hogan's passing due to his beliefs. This week, I'd rather honor Malcolm Jamal Warner. Yes. Yes. I mean, these are role models that we lost this week. We lost Theo Huxtable. In some ways, I've heard him described this week as one of the few examples for young African-American men on growing up on television. At that time, he was so important for people that were around my age that were growing up to see somebody like him on TV. And that's why the Cosby Show was so important in some ways. It's sad that Bill Cosby's tainted the legacy of the Cosby Show because the Cosby Show was something that really, really did allow for an example for African-American people to look up to, or look towards, or see an example of their life on TV and be like, you know what, this is awesome. I have a role model. I can be like Theo. I want to be like Theo. And in some ways, the TV just didn't have enough Theo Huxtables. And that's why in some ways, Theo Huxtable is a very important icon also. Because like I said, there weren't a lot of people on TV for that kind of stuff for young black men that were growing up to kind of identify with. And that's important. Ozzy, of course, he's going to have an impact on this world going forward forever. Of course. And Hogan will too, to an extent. The footnote is there for him, obviously. The footnote is there. Kareem Thomas is saying, I love Hulk Hogan until he had an affair with Randy's wife, Elizabeth. And obviously his racist comments about his daughter's boyfriend. Hulk Hogan, great actor, shitty person. Yeah. Hulk Hogan, great character. Terry Bollea, shitty person. It's as simple as that, Kareem. You just got to separate the actual person from the character. The character is what we all love. The character was the phenomenon. The character was the thing that made wrestling big. And that's what we can all celebrate and mourn. Although I mourned that character a long, long time ago. I actually mourned that character when I found out Hulk Hogan was a racist. That's when I mourned that character then. That's right. You fell for that Hogan was with Elizabeth? This was never actually really a thing. I want to, they did such a good job of making it seem real, but this was never a real thing. Elizabeth never did anything with Hulk Hogan. They were close friends. And there's actually stories about when Randy and Elizabeth broke up finally in the mid-90s. She went to the Hogan's house to stay with them to kind of get away from Randy because she was best friends with Linda. And Elizabeth went over and stayed with Hulk Hogan and his wife to get away from Randy. But it wasn't like Hogan was sleeping with her. It was that she was a friend and that they were giving her a place to go to. Elizabeth is a weird story. I mean, you got to understand, Elizabeth and Randy were like sweethearts from a very, very young age. And they really were together. And he was very possessive of her. Trust me, he was. But the whole thing that they played off of, the eyes and like Hogan, putting his hand on her butt and holding her on his shoulder. And like Hogan, like in the back and the whole part where the mega powers explode over Elizabeth. A lot of that was based on Randy's true jealousy of Elizabeth and other people. But it wasn't Hogan. Hogan was never actually somebody that was doing things with Elizabeth. It was never that case. And she actually didn't do anything with anybody. She wasn't a ring rat. She was a very classy lady. And there's a lot of allegations about her that are kind of stupid, honestly. So just to clear the air, there was no real thing between Elizabeth and Hulk Hogan. That's not true. It was a part of a storyline. Fiercely saying, but I do recognize he revolutionized wrestling. Salute to him for that. He put it on the map. He made it big. There's different people that came in the history of the wrestling that made it bigger and bigger. Now, let's not get it twisted. Hulk Hogan, just like a lot of wrestlers, is an archetype. Is he didn't make his character. His character was a character from before. In fact, we mentioned one of the people he ripped off, Jesse Ventura, earlier. Superstar Billy Graham. Yeah, this is who he did. And I mean, they're all along the line and lineage back to Gorgeous George back in the early 40s and stuff like that. So it's like, there's certain archetypes. There's the Russian, you can have the Samoan. You can have different archetypes around wrestling and different generations and different people do it. And Hogan's archetype was not new. He was doing Superstar Billy Graham. He was doing Jesse the Body Ventura. That he was ripping off these guys, honestly. That's right. Andre the Giant. That's right. That guy was a racist too. I'm sad to say it, guys, but Andre used the N-word and he was a racist. He was on a bus one day with Bad News Alan Kojay, and he was using the N-word around him. And Alan did not like that. Judo champion, Alan Kojay. Yeah, he's an Olympic judo champion and a real badass. And one of the few people that would challenge Andre the Giant to a fight for real in real life. And he did. He said, Andre, you don't stop using that N-word, I'm going to take you outside this bus and whoop your ass. Andre didn't get up and he shut up. And he didn't go out in the bus off the bus and fight Alan Kojay. He shut the fuck up and he stopped using that N-word around him. And that's Andre the Giant. Seriously, that's how serious Bad News Brown was that day about Andre using the N-word. Yeah, let's not get it twisted. A lot of these guys were racist as fuck, and they're kind of fucked up. Seriously. Kareem Thomas saying it fiercely. I agree. I'm paying more homage to Jamal than Hulk Hogan. Yeah, my hierarchy has got Ozzy and Jamal above Hulk Hogan for sure. When I saw the news yesterday, I didn't have any kind of reaction. If I'd been a kid in the way that I grew up and thinking about him and how I idolized him, I would have been in shambles yesterday. But it's changed. Everything has changed. And in some ways, I was numb to it. I didn't have a reaction either way. I was like, oh, okay, he's gone. Well, I'm not totally surprised, but I am kind of surprised. But also I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. I'm not upset. Ozzy, it was a blow. I felt it that day. I felt really sad about Malcolm Jamal Warner also, especially finding out more details about how he passed at so young an age too. So young in age. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth saying Jesse and Mick Foley are two of the most well-spoken wrestlers ever. Also Kevin Nash. Yeah. Those guys are awesome. And so is Bret Hart, guys. These guys are real ones. And in some ways, they're humans. They're humanistic people. And, you know, Kevin Nash getting in trouble recently for speaking out against Donald Trump and the MAGA and people coming after him for it is brave. In this world, people like me and Kevin Nash talking out against MAGA and being anti-MAGA, in some ways, we're brave for this because they're coming for people like Stephen Colbert. Oh, I'm so proud of South Park. South Park, you guys are funny, man. Trey and Matt, look, you guys signed this $1.5 billion deal on Monday. And then on Wednesday, you come out with the most skewering episode of Donald Trump. And I love that you did the whole Saddam Hussein with Satan and in bed with Satan thing. You brought that back as a callback. Ooh, that's so loaded. And that is so right on. Dead right on. And man, now people are saying, oh, did they do enough to anger the King Donald that he will have to smite Paramount and this new contract that I think that they let the merger go through, and Trey and Matt are doing this afterwards. Either way, kudos to you, South Park. And everybody who's saying, oh, they need to cancel South Park right now, you're fascist. You're part of the fucking Nazis of today. And no, South Park has always done what they've done. They're trying to say, oh, South Park leftists were mad at South Park before. No, we weren't. We want freedom of speech. Even if South Park made fun of left people, you know what? They should have that right to make fun of anybody, because that's what freedom is. That's what democracy is. And when you don't have the right to make fun of people, well, you're living in a dictatorship. You're living under a king. And that's what this motherfucker wants. He's threatening the View and Joy Behar because they say something negative about, well, we're going to get you canceled too. Yeah, we're fast seeing the United States fall into Russia and under Putin and the bullshit there. The playbook of Putin is the playbook of Trump, and we need to understand that. And that's why in some ways we need to be careful about Canada's sovereignty and bullshit that's going on at the border. Seriously. Yeah, seriously. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Seymour saying Raptors, Argos, Tempo, Jays, Shooting Stars, Leafs, in that order is my allegiance. Okay, now you bring this. We asked this yesterday. Raptors, Argos, Tempo, Jays, Shooting Stars, Leafs. Okay, I like that order. That's not bad. I got to remember to put the Shooting Stars in my order too, because I am a Scarborough Shooting Stars fan. I am a CBL Scarborough Shooting Stars fan. I got to put them in there. I think my hierarchy is now Raptors, Tempo, Blue Jays, Shooting Stars, Toronto FC, Argos, and then Leafs. Yeah, Leafs there. Yeah. Might be a dual citizen. Who's a dual citizen? Jamal Shed. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not saying he won't. He might not do it. He didn't seem totally serious, but maybe he will. I don't know. I can't totally tell. We will have to see. Mischief's here. The basement's here. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. He gave us 71 years, heavy heart feeling. Yeah, this is actually part of why he died. He had heart failure at his house yesterday. You know, I thought that he actually died during a surgery, the way Dustin Reynolds was making it sound like. No, he had a surgery a month ago, and he was not recuperating from it very well. You know, years and years of steroid abuse is going to destroy your heart. You know, not to mention his back was all fucked up, guys. He had horrible, horrible back issues, and he had all kinds of spinal fusions and different things, and some of that shit wasn't right. He, in fact, sued some of his doctors for messing his back up. And he had problems with all of his joints, his knees, his elbows, everything. Hulk Hogan was all messed up, and that's partly from his career in wrestling. You know, there were certain period in Hulk Hogan's career where he couldn't take bumps at a certain point because he was so messed up. And a lot of that was in WCW. You see, he won't hit the mat like he used to. You know, Hulk Hogan's best wrestling part of his career was in Japan. He went over to Japan, New Japan in the 80s, and he actually wrestled technically. And in some ways, he showed the ability to be able to technically wrestle like Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect. But that was only because that style demanded it there. And in some ways, over here, they didn't want him to do that show. They wanted him to do the Hogan show over here. Vince wanted him to do the Hogan show. But in Japan, he actually did have some wrestling matches. There's one in particular against the Great Muta that's absolutely insane. So, you know, if you want to see good wrestling by Hulk Hogan, you go watch New Japan matches with Hulk Hogan from the 80s, and you'll see some good wrestling there. Yeah. Some very good wrestling. Good to see you, Mischief, in the chat. Seymour Pape saying that open practice on October the 2nd is going to be packed. Didn't know all of Toronto has moved out west. I'm going to post pics. I'm mad hyped right now. Yeah, you just get in there, all right? You just get in there. You get priority queue. You get in that and get those tickets. Don't sleep on this, Seymour. Find out exactly when they're available and get it right away because you know they will go fast. The city of Calgary is a lot of people in it. And yeah, it's going to be a hot ticket. Everybody's going to want to go to this. Maybe on the download, most people won't know about it, but you know about it. So you get on it. That's what I'm saying. Kaz is saying it at MJ. The post on Instagram was deleted due to backlash, as far as I know. Yeah, they took the one off Instagram. They took the one off of Twitter, but they didn't take the one off Facebook. The one on Facebook is still there. We saw our great JYD. Do a post tribute to Hulk Hogan himself because he was around the Hulkster also. You know, I'm not going to say that Hulk Hogan is a bad thing. I'm going to say Terry Bollea was. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Randolph's here. Blessings to our Raptor Freak family. Your life is a story that will end when you draw your last breath. Make it a best read by living your best life of positive inspirations and great influence. Thank you, Randolph, for your blessings. I appreciate you. There you go. Write your story. You know, what is your legacy? What is Hulk Hogan's legacy? Well, it's tarnished. Honestly, it's tarnished by racism. And that's sad. Racists will look past it and say, oh, he's a good guy. I love him. He's MAGA. I love him. But people are going to see the whole picture. They're going to see it like us. And that's just how it is. Legacy is tarnished. Hulk Hogan's legacy is tarnished. That's just the damn truth. The sad thing is a lot of wrestlers' legacies are tarnished in the end because we find out the truth about them from behind the scenes, just how much most of them are very flawed pieces of shit, honestly. Most of the wrestlers are very flawed, and they're not good people, trust me. These are people that used to travel around and drug women on purpose and rape them. I mean, there's wrestlers that did that kind of shit, you know? We know about Ric Flair on the plane ride from hell. We know about fucked up things Brock Lesnar is implied with the Vince McMahon sex scandal. We know fucked up things that, you know, other people did. You know, that's why I say people like Bret Hart, they're awesome because they're genuine, real deal people. And like people getting mad at Bret for being whiny or being anti-American, but the man's the real deal Holyfield. He's a great Canadian in my book. And he should be on the $50 bill, honestly. They should put Bret Hart on a pink $50 bill for Canada. That's what I believe. That's right. That's right. Blessings to Randolph Phillips, his Phillips family, and all the Raptor Freak families. Seymour saying the nature boy touches grass, Lex. Rick's still here. I know. God, by God's grace. I mean, seriously, of all the people that have passed from wrestling, Ric Flair still being on this earth right now is actually really amazing. Honestly, it's super amazing. Crazy amazing. Crazy amazing. But, you know, his time's going to come too. We know that. We know that. The man's not slowing down. That's part of the problem. His doctors have told him to stop. Wendy left him because he's just not listening to the doctors and he doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to live right up until the end. Woo! And I'm not stopping. That's kind of his attitude right now. It's like somebody who has cancer and won't stop smoking cigarettes. Like, I've already got it. I might as well just enjoy what I do, you know, right up until the end. That's the way Flair's going. And in some ways, that's why I thought he was going to be gone before Hogan. Seriously, because he ain't living healthy. That's right. He ain't living healthy at all right now, honestly. Wayne saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. Hulk Hogan was a waste of skin, and so is Dennis Rodman. No one gets a pass because they're entertaining. I'm a huge fan of John Legend, and I have never heard anything negative. There you go. Yeah, John Legend. I've never heard anything bad about John Legend. John Legend is a classy person. In some ways, the world of MAGA and Donald Trump has shown that you can be a really shitty-ass person and still try and be popular because it's like, oh, give him a pass, Donald Trump. That's one of the things he's done. The worst thing to society is that he's given a lot of tolerance to criminality, grifting, being a shitty person more and more in this world. He's given more license to shitty people to be shitty people because he gets away with it. That's the sad thing about this. There used to be integrity. There used to be people like Al Franken that would step down over the littlest thing because he had integrity. You know, but not anymore. These motherfuckers, they'll run around things just to keep their little gigs of making money. Politicians, they can have scandals out the ass, and they're just trying to avoid them and just stay alive in there. And they don't care. It's messed up. Integrity is in short supply in a lot of people these days. And that's sad, man. That's sad, man. Really, really sad. Yeah, you don't like Dennis either. You know, Dennis is a piece of crap in some ways too. Yeah, you're right. He's a flawed person. But in some ways, I understand Dennis and his flawedness to an extent. He is MAGA, which is annoying to me too. But that's partly because he was on The Apprentice, and Donald Trump and Dennis Rodman are friends in some dumbass way. I mean, it really bugs me about Dennis Rodman because man, he shouldn't be like this. But then again, he's done so much drugs and drank so much, his brain's fried, and he's going to be stupid. In some ways, I give Dennis a pass just because of his hard work in the NBA and what he did on the court. But I shouldn't. You're right. I shouldn't. I should treat him exactly, not exactly like Hogan, but there are things about Rodman that are problematic for sure. Randolph saying, I saw Hulk Hogan live at the Montreal Forum. It was the day I dropped wrestling because what I saw was so fake. Before then, I religiously watched wrestling. You go and see a Hulk Hogan match in real life, and you're like, holy crap, he's not really hitting him. Like, what is that? And the leg drop. I mean, he was such a weird, corny wrestler. Like, really, really corny. The whole thing where he'd Hulk up, he's like getting hit, and he's like coming back, and then he goes, and then he does that, and then he just starts hitting him in the forehead. Yeah, that was so goofy. That's the fans ate it up. That's what they wanted. They wanted that shit. That's right. Mean Gene Okerlund. That's right. Hulk is back with his guy, Mean Gene. Mean Gene Okerlund here with Hulkster. Come on in here, Hulkster. What do you, Mean Gene, brother? Woo! No, wait, that's Ric Flair. I did the woo. Yeah, Mean Gene's up there already. Yeah, Mean Gene's not a bad guy. He's a pretty good dude for the most part, at least as far as I know. Mean Gene was a good guy. Fiercely Santa Cass, thank you for confirming. I'm loving this. Bravo, confirming. Okay. Yeah, that was about the deletion. Okay. Seymour saying, wow, I don't know that F Andre then too. Yeah, Andre, unfortunately, I mean, in some ways we got to look at it different with Andre. Andre was a farm boy from France. And I don't know how many black people were in his life early on. And in some ways, you know, coming over to America and becoming a wrestler opened his eyes to the whole entire world and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's sad when you hear these stories, for sure. It's sad. But, you know, Bad News Allen regulated on that one pretty good there. You know, there's another crazy Andre story with Kamala. You know, Kamala is a very interesting person. Jim Harris was from the South, and he was Sugar Bear Harris before he was Kamala. And it was Jerry Lawler who came up with Kamala, the Ugandan giant. He said, Kamala, why don't you do this and this? Which is kind of racist that Jerry Lawler said do this, but Jim Harris was about it. And he really did kind of thrive because of the weird tribal gimmick that he was doing, which was very racist in itself. Now, Kamala, because of his size, as I said earlier, was matched up against Andre a lot. Like, that was a match. And Jim Harris is one of the few people in wrestling that actually body slammed Andre, like, legitimately, like Harley Race, like Hulk Hogan, you know. And, well, Harris was legitimately scared of Andre. And there was a time when Harris was keeping a gun on him because he thought Andre was coming after him to hurt him. So he literally would wrestle in matches with his weird like skirt and his tights with a gun in his tights. Kamala. I know this sounds so crazy. Like, this is crazy shit, but he would be wrestling in some of these matches with a gun on him. And y'all didn't even know that. And apparently, like in the locker room one day, he had the gun out, and they're like, "Why do you have this gun?" And it's like, "Motherfucking Andre, you come near me, I'll show you why." It's so crazy, man. When I heard that about like Kamala, I was like, "Holy shit, that's crazy, man. That's so crazy." So crazy. All right, let's keep going. Kareem Thomas saying, "My favorite wrestlers were Mr. Perfect." Perfecting my Mr. Perfect skills to perfection because I'm a perfectionist, and Coco Beware. I don't know why, because I fucking hate birds. Well, these guys are both interesting wrestlers. Kurt Hennig is a flawed person for sure. Yeah, he's a dick, man. Kurt Hennig was an absolute asshole, man. I'm telling you right now. I know. I met him in real life. He was a dick in real life. I mean, he was also a nice guy in private life too, but he played the character in real life more often than not, an arrogant Mr. Perfect kind of guy, you know. But yeah, he's an interesting guy. He was a ribber too. He was one of those guys that were always playing pranks on everybody around him, which is annoying. Coco Beware still with us. Coco Beware, underrated player, a wrestler. A lot of people misalign him as being a jobber, as being a enhancement talent. He's not. He was a mid-card talent. He was very popular. He was extremely popular in Tennessee and also in Mid-South for Bill Watts. And, Coco was on a level close to JYD, but not totally as popular as Sylvester Ritter. But Coco Beware he was one of the most popular black wrestlers in the 80s. And he was huge. He was a main eventer in the lower territories, but on WWF, he was a mid-carder. But he did get on some pretty big cards in the 80s, like the WrestleManias. And yeah, Coco Beware was interesting. In some ways, he was there for the kids and the entertainment, but he was actually a really good wrestler too. Really good wrestler. And he's still with us, which is awesome. Yeah, Coco's a good guy. Let's see. Smooth saying, instead of calling wrestling fake, I call it predetermined. The pain is real. They put their lives on the line to entertain. This is a good discernment. I can get behind this. Wrestling is not fake because these guys really get hurt, but the storylines and what they're trying to do out there is predetermined. And in some ways, they do improvise. Sometimes there is a shoot where guys get really actually pissed at each other and they're actually hurting each other in the ring. There's all kinds of different levels to it. And saying something's fake, well, this gets back to, something that happened with Hulk Hogan and Richard Belzer when he appeared on the Richard Belzer show with Mr. T, and he put Richard Belzer in a headlock to prove to him it wasn't fake, and he knocked his ass out, and then there was a lawsuit. There was a lawsuit. So it's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy. Kaloy saying, I love how you phrased it, Lex. Love the character, but fuck the person behind it. Dunk for you. Thank you. I'll take that one, Kaloy. I'll take that. Yeah, it's just really important. I've had to go through this on my own personally over the years since the release of the racist tape of him. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to decide to separate the character from the person. That's the easiest way to do this. And in some ways, you can celebrate Hulk Hogan. You can talk about the impact he had on you in your childhood and stuff like that. But understand who Terry Bollea is on the other side of things, too. And he showed you exactly who he was when he showed up at Madison Square Garden for Donald Trump. He showed you exactly there. Seriously. Yeah. Kareem saying wrestling is basically Days of Our Lives, but instead of a cliffhanger on to the next episode, they fight. I mean, I've heard it been described as male soap operas for sure. For sure. It's definitely that kind of stuff. All right, let's go ahead and check on some tabs real quick. First of all, let me see what's going on here with the WNBA. There's a few games tonight. Phoenix at New York. Angelica Suffren is the crew chief with Michael Price as referee and Kelly Broomfield as the umpire. Las Vegas Aces will play against the league-leading Minnesota Lynx tonight. Isaac Barnett is the crew chief with Kevin Fahey and Marcy Williams. And the Dallas is at Golden State Valkyries. Randy Richardson is the crew chief with Ganabazi and Sarah Williams. Check on your WNBA fantasy leagues. We got some great matchups. I've doubled up Edmund real bad already. Kaz is beating Logical Raptors Fanatic. Kareem, you're getting your butt kicked by MJ. Cool Cat is beating JP, and it's very close. This is the close matchup to watch. Meredith versus James. Meredith, the two-time champion, has overtaken James at this point. So, James, you got some work to do if you want to take that lead back from our WNBA two-time champion of fantasy, Meredith. That's right there. Shaq Lindsay saying, Epstein. How can this man get away with this? The biggest cover-up in history. The picture don't lie despite the media cover-up. Yeah, I can go on Epstein stuff. I mean, it's always been obvious that Donald Trump was one of the most important figures in the whole Epstein thing. He's always been around the whole thing. Him and Epstein were like this, and this is the truth. I'm really worried for that woman that's in jail in Tallahassee right now. Jeffrey Epstein found an end quick, and I think her time might be coming out. If you hear that Maxwell has died in any kind of way in the next couple of weeks or the next couple of months, know that that was not a suicide. I'm going to say this right now. Watch her right now. The woman that's in jail near the high school I went to in Tallahassee, Florida right now is on watch, because seriously, they weren't paying attention to her for the last couple of years, but things are amping up right now. I could see her mysteriously dying all of a sudden, and that'll tell you all you need to know about this whole situation. They can release that file. They were going crazy about it. It's so dumb. It just shows how stupid MAGA is and Donald Trump. And this hopefully should destroy him, but it might not. That's the craziest thing about this. This motherfucker's gotten away with so much at this point. And in some ways, he's a trailblazer for fucking criminals. In some ways, he's blazing a trail for people behind him to get away with fucking murder like he has. And that's sad. That's not the way America should have been developing. This is totally anti Hulk Hogan and Real American. It's totally anti. And yeah, the evidence is all there. I mean, people are you that stupid that you don't think Donald Trump in an interview said he likes girls as young as 12? He said that. There's an interview out there. You can hear him saying that. So why the fuck wouldn't he be at Epstein's Island fucking underage girls? He has been doing that. He did that. You know he did. You see the creepy shit that he's around Ivanka? Once again, a lot of the stuff that Donald Trump and MAGA blames other people, like remember a couple of years ago, they got all into sex trafficking and they're like really big on, we got to stop sex traffickers in the United States. They're so out of control and stuff like that. Man, they're telling on themselves. They're the sex traffickers, whether it's Matt Gaetz, whether it's Donald Trump. I'm just saying that whenever they blame the left, whenever they say this about the left, just take it and put it on them. And you can understand, wow, they're telling on themselves. This is what they're saying that the left is doing, but they're actually the ones that are doing it. Seriously, start watching them and listening to them through that lens, and they will tell on themselves in so many different ways. So many different ways. Biden rigged the election. Biden rigged the election. No, they rigged the election. They're telling on themselves. Whether it's Hillary or this, she used Russian interference to help in the election. No, you used Russian interference to help in the election. Yeah. The left is all about trafficking young women in this world. No, you guys are. You guys are. This is basically what you got to understand at this point. The finger pointing from the right wing and MAGA is basically them telling their crimes. And you got to look at it this way because it's basically, I've seen the pattern is like most of the shit they blame everybody else for is deflection. Is also the best offense is the best defense is an offense is what they think. We're going to get out ahead of this by blaming the left wing, and we'll confuse our base into thinking that what they're doing is what we're actually doing. Oh, he's going to raise taxes on you. No. Biden's not going to raise taxes on you. Harris is not going to raise taxes on you. He is going to raise taxes on you. Whatever he says the other side is going to do, he's going to do it. That's it right there. Boom goes the dynamite. Cream saying we have to appreciate Bam Bam Bigelow. There's something about a 250-pound man who does perfect cartwheels in a leotard that's intriguing. Scott Bigelow is a good one. Yeah. In some ways, he's a wrestler that was absolutely a fantastic person behind the scenes. Yeah, he really was. You know what about Bam Bam Bigelow that you may not have known? That man ran into a burning house and saved a bunch of people. He didn't have to do that. He had the flames on his head on his tattoo, right? He's a hero. He went into a house where children were and saved them, ran into the house and pulled them out of that house in a burning building. He's a true hero. Scott Bigelow was one of the most agile men to ever wrestle. And you're right. A man that could do a cartwheel with it's over 300 pounds and 6'6", that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. He's a badass, man. Bigelow's right that. Yeah, you didn't know that. See, I can give you the straight goods on any wrestler. You want to know where they're at with what was going on? Well, Scott Bigelow, Bam Bam Bigelow was a big teddy bear. He's a huge, great person. Bam Bam Bigelow, I think they did do a Dark Side of the Ring on him, but it was more about like his problems with painkillers and stuff like that. But he was a big teddy bear at heart, and he was a real family man. He was good for his family, and he was just a good person, guys. Just so you know, I will tell you about the good ones. I'm not going to tell you about all the, all of them are bad. There were good ones, and Bam Bam Bigelow was one of them. He was a very, very good person, and that's it. Straight goods on Canadian goods, guys. Let's talk about toilet paper, y'all. Let's talk about toilet paper. What kind of toilet paper are y'all buying? Do you know how to buy toilet paper that will support Canada and keep the money in our economy up here and not go to the United States? Well, Royale Velour is a 10 out of 10 on the Canada score. Royale is a Canadian brand owned by Irving Tissue, and Royale is a great toilet paper to buy. Majesta is also owned by Irving Tissue. So if you see a Majesta, that's fine too. Another company that's very, very good, has a 9 out of 10 on the Canada score, is Cashmere. If you're buying Cashmere toilet paper, you're good. You're good. Purex is also a Canadian-owned and manufactured toilet paper. Purex. White Swan is okay, guys. If you buy White Swan toilet paper, that's pretty good. Bonterra, another good Canada score. White Cloud is another Canadian-owned and manufactured toilet paper by Kruger. And yeah, those are the best ones right there. White Cloud, White Swan, Bonterra, Purex, Cashmere, Majesta, and Royale Velour. And I'm telling you, the ones that are bad, Quilted Northern, don't buy that. That's a straight up US product. Do not buy it. Cottonelle, don't buy that either. That is Kimberly Clark Paper Company, and that's USA. Cottonelle, nope, nope, nope. Scott, nope, 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 nope. Those are the ones you don't want to get. Scott, Cottonelle, Quilted Northern, nope. Go get Royale. Go get Cashmere. Go get White Swan. Those are the best toilet papers for supporting our country and Canadian industry. That's right. Boom goes a dynamite on that. All right, let's keep moving. Instagram story. Scotty is in Greece, y'all. Scotty is in Mykonos, Greece. He's on the coast of Greece right now. He's getting some time in another time zone out of the United States in the European zone. So yeah, Scotty's in Greece, y'all. Scotty's getting that Greece. Garrett Temple went back to LSU. Of course, that man has a lot of history at LSU with his family and himself. And yeah, it's great to see Garrett Temple back at his alma mater, working out with the LSU Tigers. That's right. Eric Smith what is he doing? Who's that? That is, he's saying, thanks for the tour and the hospitality, Coach PJ. Coach PJ, good luck to you and UBC this upcoming season. Okay, I don't know who that is. Let's see. He's also celebrating the Blue Jays being on top of the American League East right now. That's fantastic. They're ahead of the Astros now as of yesterday. Teresa Resch is posting Serena Williams shooting a bunch of little basketballs on a mini hoop game, and she's just throwing them through. It's Serena Williams, part owner of the Toronto Tempo. It's awesome. And there's more Toronto Tempo merchandise back in stock. They ran out of some hoodies and shirts. Well, they made some more. You can buy them. Kelly Olynyk has got the food on blast once again. Some sort of weird sushi. Looks kind of gross. And then there's a really beautiful scenery. Where are you at, Kelly? This is a very picturesque picture. Nice water feature and a nice deck there. Very, very cool. Grady Dick has got a happy birthday message for Jamal Shed. Happy birthday, him and Grady and Jamal. Very, very cool. And he's also inviting you to Grady Dick Youth Basketball Camp. And it's actually, he's inviting you to Charitable Golf Tournament. It's a Grady Dick Charitable Golf Tournament. It's August the 11th in Wichita, Kansas. It's going to be at the Crestview Country Club in North Course. Join Grady Dick for a memorable event supporting a great cause. So yeah, it's going to be a charity golf game on August the 11th with Grady in Wichita. Jonathan Shedd has got a cool montage of Raptors highlights from last year. Very, very cool stuff there. There's a picture of Jamal Shedd guarding Dame Lillard and saying happy birthday to Jamal. And then also Jonathan was using some sort of workout machine. He's saying it's no joke. This thing was tough on him. He was working hard. Coach Andrew Jones got Ava B. hooping, and she's just getting longer and better. And she's like, her limbs are so long all of a sudden, and she is just kicking butt. Like, she's a true scorer. She looks like she's going to be WNBA, guys. I'm telling you right now, you're going to hear the name Ava Jones. I scouted Steph Curry at the same age. Seriously. And I was right about him. I'm telling you right now, Ava Jones is coming. So be ready. She might be a Toronto Tempo someday. And she's very well-spoken and astute. Andrew Jones is really funneling a lot of energy into his daughter to be a professional. She's even pulling those heavy things up and down the like pushing the heavy things in the weight room, like the carts, like the Raptors players do. She's turning around, pushing it the other way. She's working on strength. That's right. Colin Murray Boyles has got Jacoby Walter on blast on his Instagram. Young Oach is putting on blast. Today is the day that Young Abaji Basketball Skills Camp is today, y'all, on the 25th. It started this morning at 8 a.m. So, yeah, Young Abaji Skills Camp is going on in Kansas today. So, Osha Abaji's got that going on. Norman Powell is getting a warm welcome in Greece. So, he's in Greece also, just like Scotty, but he's in Athens. And there's a huge crowd to see Miami Heat's Norman Powell. Understanding the grind, lots of understand the grind gear. Where is your stuff, Siakam? Where's your PS43 gear? Understand the grind's making mint, bro. What are you doing, Siakam? Why are you holding this stuff away from us? Cool Cat wants to buy your whole line. Come on now. Siakam's got cool footage of him on the soccer pitch, playing some soccer with friends. He actually pushes this one guy down. It's totally a foul. Why did you do that, Siakam? You don't push the other player down. Jacoby Walter wishing a happy birthday to Jamal Shed. Happy birthday, brother man, is what he's saying there. Very, very cool. And there is another picture of Jacoby on vacation in Hawaii. and he's near a little mini waterfall. And Jacoby looks at peace, man. You know, this kind of recharge kind of stuff, like Scotty being in Greece, Jacoby being in Maui, Hawaii. This is fantastic for these guys in the offseason to get the downtime, to reflect, and to become more organized mentally for the season coming up. You got to recharge. You got to recharge. Slim Duck is posted Hulk Hogan passing on his Instagram. Chris Boucher, a big wrestling fan, so he's recognizing the passing of Hulk Hogan. And here he is at the OVO Center putting up hoops and shooting shots. And there's the NOAA system behind him. And I'm pretty sure this is from yesterday. So I don't know what to make of this. Like, Chris is in the free agency period where he's in limbo. Maybe he is going to be back because honestly, he's not left Toronto. He's continuing to wear the Raptors gear, and he is still working at OVO Center, even if unofficially he's not totally under contract with the Raptors right now. So I don't know what's going on with Chris Boucher. At this point, I think anything's possible. If he's not going to sign with another team, why is he wearing – is he going to sign with another team? Why is he wearing Raptors gear still? And why is he still around OVO? Is he going to be on the Raptors this year? Is there a way that we figure this out? Is he the guy who's going to get the last roster spot all of a sudden out of the blue? I don't know. I'm okay with it. If that's what Bobby Webster and they decide, that's what it is. Let's see. Who else we got? Yeah, there's Dennis Rodman. Remembering his friend Hulk Hogan for life is what he wrote. Well, life ended yesterday, so NWO for life is over. I'm sorry, that's cold, but that's just true, Rodzilla. I'm sorry, my guy. Jamal Shed, so many Instagram stories. So many people love Jamal on his birthday, sending him so many birthday wishes. A lot of people from Houston, a lot of family members, a lot of friends, some of the Raptors, as I've named already. All of them wishing Jamal Shed a happy birthday. The Raptors official admin wishing him a happy birthday. Jamal Shed, you are loved, my guy. In fact, you're so loved, we're going to share the love for you tomorrow. Saturday, Share the Love Club, Jamal Shed. The man said he wants to become Canadian. It was his birthday this week. He is also one of the best players at Summer League for the Raptors. We're doing a summer Share the Love Club for you, Jamal Shed, tomorrow. We're going to share some love for you a couple days after your birthday and do the Saturday Share the Love Club. Jamal Shed, I hope you'll join me tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for the Saturday Share the Love Club. That's right. It's all about Jamal, baby. We're going to talk about Mally Mal. That's right. My dog, the doggy dog. That's right. There you go. So many things. He's got so many friends posting so many things of love and wishes towards him. A lot of love for Jamal. Hello, Jack was the person that came to Basketball Academy this week. I think the first day was RJ. The second day was Jama. The third day was Jack Armstrong. And the fourth day was Jamal McGlure, who came in yesterday and was there at the Raptors Basketball Academy. But there's Jack Armstrong instructing the youth at the Basketball Academy. Very cool for that. DeMar DeRozan's done some interviews. He did a podcast with Carmelo Anthony, which is the 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast. And Rudy Gay is also a guest on that. And there's some musings and reflections and memories of Rudy and DeMar on the Raptors. There's some funny stories in there, some pretty funny stuff. I won't ruin them. So if you want to hear the goofiness, like DeMar was like, he didn't have no money yet. And like Rudy Gay was like having all the money already because he was a vet in the league. And DeMar wanted to get paid so he could come and turn around and say, hey, you need anything, Rudy? Because he wanted to help him out. It's kind of funny. So yeah, DeMar DeRozan episode with Carmelo Anthony on his podcast. And Rudy Gay is a guest on that too. And they talk about the mid-range. There's all kinds of interesting subjects on there. DeMar, we love you. You are a GROAT forever. Chucky Hepburn is working out at Louisville at his alma mater with the Raptors shirt on. We're really working hard. Go, Chucky, go, is what I'm saying right there. Raptors official admin is taking down the goofy NBA Paint logo on Facebook, but they're still using it on Instagram. Yeah, and let's see. Is that it? That's it for the Instagram stories there. Jamal Shed's birthday was yesterday, and he's got a lot of people that love him. Let's just put it that way. A lot of people love him. That's right. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Wow, some more comments in here. Yeah. Let's see. Kareem saying, what the heck is an American toilet paper brand? Probably that brown paper shit that in the bathroom hand dispensers. No, I'm just going to say, I'll go over it again real quick. The paper brands that you might buy here are Quilted Northern. Don't buy Quilted Northern Ultra Plush. That is one of the worst ones you could buy. Delsey. I don't even know. That one's from Mexico, though. So in some ways, it's kind of like Cottonelle. Don't buy Cottonelle. And Scott. Those are the worst ones right there. You could buy Metro, Metro is kind of is Canadian, but it's not as good as these other ones. White Swan, Cashmere, and Royale. Those are like some of the best ones. White Swan, White Cloud, Purex, Cashmere, Royale, Velour. Those are the best Canadian toilet papers to buy. Yeah, American brands, you know, you can Cottonelle and Northern Quilted. Nah, none of those. Nah, you don't want those. Mel Bester is here. Good to see the Knicks freak back in the house. Our resident New York fan that comes in and says hi to us sometimes. Good morning, Lex. How's Friday and the week been? It's been, you know, I feel like the United States is burning down. I'm going to say this once again, Mel Bester. You need to vote for Zoran. He's not socialist. Socialism is good. Socialism means your tax money, Mel Bester, gets spent on the citizens and doesn't go in the greedy ass 1% billionaire oligarchs' pockets. So when you hear the word socialism, it's not a bad thing. Socialism is your police force, your fire department, your healthcare, your streets. Socialism is the public works. And when you go against socialism, you're going against your own self. Seriously, Mobester, your best interests are socialist. You'd like to have healthcare, right? You'd like to have good roads. You'd like to have fire department. Well, that's socialism. So don't fall for bullshit and thinking socialism's bad or woke is bad. No, they're lying to you, Mobester. So realize you need Mandini because honestly, he's the best choice for your city. And a lot of billionaires are paying a lot of money to shape your brain to be against him. You want to go ahead and go with the billionaires and kiss their ass, Mobester? Well, you're a sellout then. So go with the people. And understand the word socialism is not a bad thing. Socialism is what society needs to run properly. If you don't have any socialism, well, you might as well just be a serf in the fucking field like medieval times for a king named Donald. You know, seriously, Mobester. So I want to educate you. Seriously, I'm going to use you as a pet project. Don't believe the bullshit. Socialism is not a bad word. And socialism is public works, public healthcare, public education. You want education for children? Do you want healthcare for people? Do you want a police force? Do you want a fire department? Well, that's socialism. So don't let big boogie words by billionaires infiltrate your head and taint your mind. Zoran's the best choice because he's not bought by the billionaires. And they paid a lot of money to shape you to think that he's not good for you. Don't be stupid, Milbester. You're smarter than that. And understand the billionaires can't buy you off, is what I'm saying right there. Yeah. He's saying, how's Summer League with the Raptors? Well, it's way over, man. Didn't you come in and ask us about this? We got we were one of the top 4 teams at Summer League. We got to the semifinals, and we lost to the Kings. But we were one of the 4 best teams out of the 30 at Summer League. So very successful Summer League, 4-1 record for the Raptors. That's right. I haven't even watched the Knicks play in Summer League. Been watching MLB season. We passed All-Star break in the second half. Yeah, and the Blue Jays are beating the Yankees' ass. Kicking the Yankees' ass all year long. Woo! Beating the shit out of the pinstripes. Left and right. You coming up to Toronto, the Rogers Center, Yankees, you're getting your ass kicked. Is what's happening. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Blue Jays, #1 in the American League. Yeah, that's right, Milbester. Ha ha! Ha ha! Cream Stand. Hey, I'm #1 with the crown. Hey, Reggie, if you want the status, it's going to cost you $10. There you go. Cream's the top fan right now. #1, top fan. I don't even know how that works, actually. I don't even know. Milbester saying, Lex, your Blue Jays have been playing well for 2 months. I know. Hottest team, and they beat the Yankees 2 series in a row this month. Trade deadline next week. Expect the Jays to make moves to build a playoff team. I hope so. I'd like to see them go deep and do really, really well. Really, really, really well. That's right, Milbester. Seymour saying, salute the Bluegrass State. Okay, Kentucky, the place where Emmanuel quickly went to college. Sure, we can salute the Bluegrass State. And my good friend Bryce Lawson. That's right. Milbester saying they beat the best team in the AL. The Tigers should be excited for potential October in Rogers Center. It would be electric. I know Jays fans have been through a lot, but you guys got a good team. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I'm very optimistic about it. Of course, you know, Jays fans may get jaded and be like, yeah, we're having a great regular season, but it'll fall apart before then. No, I don't want that. No. Blue Jays fans, keep your head up high and keep striving for success and aim for the top. You guys can get there. Just do it. Just do it. Stop planning your own demise. And shaky energy will get you there. Seriously. Blue Jays fans, be confident in your team. That's what I say right now. That's right. That's right. Milbester is, let's see. Kareem saying, Milbester, I only wish that the Jays got this hot in September. We'll have to see. It's still coming. You're number 2 now. Milbester saying, trade deadline is next week, but a team did a trade last night. It's always begins a week earlier. Expect the Jays and all teams contending from, yeah. All right. I don't want to talk too much baseball. Milbester, I know you're excited about baseball, but we ain't doing this. Hulk Hogan was the Babe Ruth of wrestling, and he embraced people saying that. I mean, was Babe Ruth the person that made baseball what it is? I don't know if that's totally. I mean, I would say that Babe Ruth isn't even the right person for Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's bigger than Babe Ruth for baseball. It's just different, man. It's different. Kaloy saying, "Goddamn, Blue Jays going all the way this year. Book it." That's right, Kaloy. That's right. I'm gonna give you another dunk. Kaloy's collecting some dunks right here. That's the positive attitude I like to hear. 70 on the dunk charts for Carlo JS. Say hi to Santino. Let's see. Fiercey saying, is there still a rivalry between the Mets and the Yankees? People barely mention the Mets. It's just a Subway Series. It's like bragging rights for the city, but they're not in the same division or league. So in some ways, it's kind of faulty. If they get in the World Series against each other, woo, that'd be something else. Yankees versus Mets in the World Series. But yeah, it's just a rivalry of the city, the Subway Series. And it's who's the bragging rights and who's the better New York team at that moment. It's not really, I mean, I guess it's a city rivalry on the down low. It's kind of what it is. That's right. You stopped following baseball a long time ago. Glad the Jays are doing well. Yeah, I mean, Fiercey's like me. We're so focused on basketball. I mean, between watching the Raptors, the Keep It Up with the 905, going to CBL games, her daughter's basketball career, she's got basketball on the mind. That's right. And that's it. That's your second. Let's see. Seymour saying, that's my second team. Eye candy. There you go. Okay. Right now, I'm just typing so that I can keep the number 1. Oh, I see. And just typing comment. Damn, how y'all jump me? Oh, Seymour got it back. This ranking system is bonkers, like Yonkers. Okay, claiming the spot back, Seymour. Shoot, I'm number 2. I don't know why you guys are going to do this. You know, they would say if you want the number 1 spot, you need to spend money. But that's just saying fiercely, of course, the Yankees and Mets are rivals. I mean, in some ways, I mean, it's kind of how you discern what type of New Yorker you are. Sometimes it's more indicative of the borough you're from. You know, like certain boroughs are Mets, certain boroughs are Yankees. I think it's the Bronx is Yankees, and Long Island's more the Mets, right? Certain parts of New York will be more that way. You know, it's the same thing with their football teams. Some people are Giants, some people are Jets. You know, some people are Knicks, some people are Nets. You know, it's just like that around that city. It's kind of like that. That's what it is right there. Yeah. Yeah. Queens versus the Bronx. Queens. Yeah. There you go. Thumbs up. Seymour and Fiercey are battle of the sexes. Who's going to be number 1? Right now, Seymour is number 1 right now on there. All right. Let's see what Raptors Reddit's talking about this morning. You know, some people were upset about Hulk Hogan being on the Raptors thing, and they made a big stink out of it on Reddit too. And, well, they wanted a palate cleanser, so they put the Bret Hart in the Raptors 19 jersey with the championship belt after our championship, and they wanted a palate cleanser for the Hulk Hogan. Terribly thought out social media tribute to Hulk Hogan by the Raptors. They said, put Bret Hart up instead. Put Bret Hart. Now, do-gooder of Raptors Twitter, Chris Walder, Raptors Nation, very, very woke gentleman, and in some ways I respect the guy, and he holds on his convictions, maybe a little too overreaching. He's saying reading the room isn't that difficult. I'm glad they did. They deleted the post on X on Twitter, but they did it on Facebook. It's still up. So yeah, that's what's up. There's a highlight reel of Brandon Ingram that got posted yesterday, which is pretty awesome. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. You know, watch some Brandon Ingram highlights to get excited for the season coming up, y'all. This guy is on another level, and in some ways, I'm excited to see what he can do for our team, much like Leonard and Carter did for our team in the past. That's right. Also, yesterday, official Raptors admin dropped a 20-minute clip of the Game 1 of the Finals 2019 against the Warriors, where Siakam scored a huge amount. Is a game I was in attendance at in the arena for the first ever Finals game outside of U.S. borders in Canada when the Raptors beat the Warriors in Game 1 of the 2019 Finals. That's a fantastic clip. I love watching these raw, unedited kind of, well, they are edited, but they're huge chunks of the game, and I forget. And the other thing I realized watching that clip that Raptors admin posted yesterday for Game 1 of the Finals of the 2019 Finals is that I was in the crowd and I watched the game from the stands up above, and I didn't really watch the game on TV very much. So it was interesting for me to watch those highlights so many years later, because I was seeing a perspective of that game in particular that I didn't actually ever see, because I took the game in person from the upper deck. So it was kind of cool to see the highlights. I love that y'all are doing this. You guys are doing a badass job. Raptors official admin posting the highlight games, like the Terrence Ross 51 game, different things like Siakam's game in Madison Square Garden. These posts have been so awesome, and I appreciate you guys for doing them. Seriously, they've been very, very cool. Very, 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 very cool. All right, let's see. Fiercey wants the classic card. Let's see also. Anyways, go Raptors. Milbester saying both teams got to the LCS last year. Both teams got a lot of money, top market teams. They always compete and spend. Yeah, that's why MLB sucks, is because you can pay to win. Video games where you pay to win are shitty. In some ways, you should just go on your skills and your merit. That's why I like the NBA. It's more parity, and you can't pay to win like you can in the MLB. That's why I've never liked baseball as much, is because I had noticed all through the history that I watched that the Yankees were paying to be at the top over and over again. So I don't have much respect for Major League Baseball because of that. Their salary cap system's fucked, and being able to pay to win is and to me is a flaw in the whole thing. It's a flaw. You think it's a good thing, Milbester? I don't. Fiercey's being Trevor J today. Yeah, because he's on West Coast time still. And he's working, so he can't be here the whole time. Yeah. Seymour's saying camping this weekend and not doing the road trip south to Rushmore. Have an awesome weekend, Raptors Freaks. Yeah, good. Don't cross the border. Nobody needs to be going to the United States from anywhere else in the world. Seriously. I hope that, much like Canadians, most people around the world are boycotting travel to the United States. Seriously. That's what you do in some ways when you don't agree with the crumbling of democracy within a country. And that's what's happening right now. That country is going into fascist dictatorship, and it's sad to see from the outside. And, I don't know if people inside it understand just how quickly things are changing towards this in a very, very bad way. So y'all need to take the power back. Go listen to Rage Against the Machine and listen to that first album that they put out. You need to get inspired by that. Trust me. Yeah, take the power back, people of America, please, from fascist MAGA right away. Please, 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 please do it. Please, please, please. Bester saying, Lex, the best moment I saw from Hulk Hogan was the match versus The Rock in Rogers Center for WrestleMania 18. Yeah, I was at that match. Lex has been at some historic things like Game 1 of the Finals 2019, and also Skydome on March the 17th, 2002. Yeah. That was an amazing match. They interviewed Chris Jericho recently saying that him and Triple H should have never been on after them. Just because that was the heavyweight title match, it was stupid. That should have never been on after Hogan versus The Rock. It was a big mistake in the card. Triple H was saying, no, we need to be going after because we're the heavyweight. But Jericho was not want for that. He was telling them backstage. He said, I don't want to go on after Hogan and The Rock. It's not going to be right. Trust me. And he was right. Jericho was right. And Triple H was wrong. Triple H and his ego saying, no, I want to win the championship from Chris Jericho on the top of the card. Nobody cared about that after Hogan versus Rock. That was a really big matchup there. Really, really big matchup. It was really amazing, Milbester. Yeah, Blackhawk saying, sleep with the stars over your head, Seymour, and enjoy the wolves howling at your camping trip. There you go, City Slicker. Just hope Jack Palance is at the campfire and he can tell you some ghost stories. Yeah, in his Ripley's Believe It or Not voice. Yeah, City Slicker. Jack Palance is awesome. And you guys remember the old Ripley's Believe It or Not show? Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yeah, he was crazy. He was creepy. It's like get those creepy old 80s TV show hosts like Robert Stack and Jack Palance in a room and just have them talk to each other. Missing woman in this place. Robert Stack looked like an owl. And he was scary looking, man. His like it was the music and the way he kind of walked in and his face was down like this. And he'd be like kind of like, and oh man, Unsolved Mysteries was scary. All right, let's keep going. Seymour saying, laugh out loud. Yo, I'm from Scarborough. Only reason I'm going is because we bring the strap. We're bringing the strap. What do you mean? I have fears of sleeping outside. It reminds me of being homeless, and I ain't never been. Thank God. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so you're bringing a gun just in case the dingo ate your baby. Like if there's a coyote or a bear or something, are you worried about crime? I don't know what's going on here. Why you got to bring the gun with you to nature? You don't need to do that. If there's a bear, just get big and scare it off. That's the best way to deal with them. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Milbester's saying, but Lex, there's a new CBA next year, so we could get a salary floor, but not a cap. MLB Players Union and players wouldn't want a cap. We saw a 1994 strike, and that was the reason. Players over owners. It's still not a good system. I'm just saying, it's not a good system. In some ways, revenue sharing should go and grow with it, but the team should not be able to just spend out the wazoo and outspend each other. It's horrible for small markets. It's horrible for teams that can't spend like the Yankees. And that's why I hate the system of the MLB. I don't care if the players want that. They're selfish in some ways, and they're going to want what they want. But it's not good for the fans, is what I'm saying. Maybe good for the players, but it's not good for the fans as far as I'm concerned. That's the thing. The issue in the MLB is revenue sharing. Small market teams don't get ads as much as big market teams, especially in TV revenue, but they'll figure it out. I agree that it sucks for unbalanced competition. Yeah, why even be a fan of a small market team that's not even going to have a chance? Those teams should just fold and go away in that system. That's what it is right there. Seymour saying mountain lions and shit out here. Okay, I could see that. Mountain lion, yeah, you might need that. You know what's weird? I came out this morning to come and do my show in the studio, and the door of my studio was just open. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, how long was this door open? Were any animals coming into my studio while I was sleeping? Something like that. I don't know. I'll never know. But it seems like everything's all right in here. But it was weird. Like the door could have been open all night, and I wouldn't even known it. It's kind of strange. Yeah. There was a lot of wind last night. I think it blew the door open. Maybe a bear came in here. Bears and bro, you're not food, bro. Yeah, don't worry about it. You're not food. Most animals in this world aren't after us. You know, the animals that could kill us, they make them way more scary than they are. You know, in some ways, bears will go away from you. They don't want to come near you. They smell you, they will go the other way. If they detect you, they will go the other way. It's only when you get surprised by them where there could be issues. And that's like you taking a hike and walk around the corner and there's a bear with its cubs. And then you might be like, oh, sorry, I'll back off here. But most of them ain't coming near you. Alligators, same thing. People say acting like alligators are aggressive. No, they're not. Crocodiles are, but alligators aren't. And a lot of animals in today's world, they're so subjugated by humanity and our awful progress and degrading their natural environment that they're humble and they're trying to just get out of our way. Bees aren't trying to sting us. They're just trying to survive. And bears are the same too. You know, the women saying they'd rather be somewhere in the wilderness with a bear than a man. Yeah, that's true. Because the bear's less likely to fuck with you. Seriously. You'd be shocked how little a bear would fuck with you if you saw one in real life. Seriously. They ain't going to come after you unless you're threatening their little ones. They won't come even after you if they're hungry. Because honestly, you're not a good meal for them. Seriously. You're not a good meal. Yeah. Cougars, wolves. Oh, trust me, I'm good. Huh? I believe in the right for people to protect themselves, and personal protection with a gun is fine. I'm not against guns, like people having guns to protect themselves. If they feel like they're going to be in a dangerous position, bring the gun. Okay. Strap yourself good. That's right. That's right. Milbester saying, I would be shocked if we get a lockout. Yeah, I don't know. Milbester, once again, you're bringing in MLB way too much on my stream. We're talking wrestling today a bit because Hulk Hogan passed away, and that's it. That's it. We're not doing all this other stuff, guys. Come on now. All right, let's see. What else do I have? All right, is there a birthday today? Yes, there is. Happy birthday to original Raptor Tracy Murray, guys. Our 3-point specialist from the first year. Tracy Murray is turning 54 today, guys. Happy 54th birthday. Of course, Tracy Murray returned to Toronto this year and got a picture with superfan Monique Lawrence as one of the alumni during our 30th anniversary season. Happy birthday, Tracy Murray. A fantastic 3-point shooter in the history of the NBA. And early, you know what? The Raptors saved his career. We did. We saved his career. And he got more money and stayed in the NBA because he came to Toronto and the Raptors expansion team. And it's all documented in the Alex Wong book. Yeah, that came out, prehistoric. And that's fantastic stuff. So good stuff. Happy birthday, Tracy Murray. Happy 54th birthday. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. Yeah, Tracy Murray. Happy birthday. That's right. We love Tracy Murray. Early Raptor Tracy Murray. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's go ahead and do the classic card. All right, let's see what I get. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. No. I'm being kind of picky. All right, we'll do this one. Milbester's here. We'll see if Milbester can get this one. Milbester, let's see how good you know your team, my guy. Here we go. Full name answer, please. Full name answer. Do not give me half this person's name. Give me the full name answer on this original Skybox card with the purple and orange going up in the air. Who is this famous New York Knick? This is actually a well-known Knick. So if you can give me the full name answer of this Knicks player, you get the classic card points. Alec Burks. That's way too recent. That is Trent Tucker. That's exactly right. Smooth Brown Man knows that is Trent Tucker. A very famous Knick for scoring some points really, really fast in a game. Yeah, Trent Tucker is kind of a New York Knicks legend. Milbester, do you know who this guy is? Because I'm testing you on whether you are a true Knicks fan. Yeah. Do you know who this is? Trent Tucker. Trent Tucker is one of those guys that scored a lot of points in a very fast time. I think it was like he scored like 10 points in like 4 seconds once or something like that. It's really crazy. I'm going to give Smooth 100 points for the classic card today. This is not super hard. Not super hard. But yeah, Trent Tucker is the classic card of the day. It's kind of fitting with Milbester here. But Smooth, yeah, you're going to get 100 for this one. I see that Fiercey's at top of our Raptor Freaks trivia standings, and Smooth is right behind her right now. There you go. You're going to say Kemba, but the jersey looked old. Yeah, this is 1990. So Alec Burke, Kemba Walker, way before him. Way before those guys. That's right. That's right. All right, y'all, let's wrap up the stream today. A little bit early, 15 minutes early. The passing of Terry Bollea yesterday is of note. Yes. In some ways, a lot of people were putting out honoring him and tributes and his passing on social media places, including our team, the Toronto Raptors. Well, in some ways, Terry Bollea is a problematic person. And, some people can honor him and remember him as Hulk Hogan. And that's what I choose to do in some ways. But also remember the human being, the real person that played Hulk Hogan was flawed. And he was a racist. And he was also MAGA. And that's reprehensible. Might as well say, Hulk Hogan, you were a Nazi, bro. Seriously, that's his legacy in the end. When it all comes down in the end about MAGA America, Hulk Hogan's spotlight in the middle of it at the RNC convention is going to be remembered. And he'll be tainted forever. It's going to be like he's going to be in a group with Hitler in like 100 years from now, guys. People will look at Hulk Hogan as being a sellout like a Nazi and like Hitler and those other people. And that's just sad because he didn't have to go that route and go this way. Now, that MAGA side's trying to rewrite history so that they're the good guys and that they make it out that what they did was right and all this stuff. They're trying to do that with lies. We cannot let them win to get the history written in their side of things because that will fuck this world up in all kinds of weird ways. Just trust me. So we need to be voices of truth and call them on their shit. MAGA America equals Nazi Germany. That's just the damn truth at this point. And if you think I'm overstating that or I'm crazy, nope. This has been true the whole time, and it's going worse and worse, slipping into fascism. Sadly, Hulk Hogan is a character that is tainted by Terry Bollea. And that's sad. That's sad. It didn't have to be that way. So I'll compartmentalize them. I'll put Terry Bollea and his racist ass over here, and I'll put Hulk Hogan, the image and the character, over here and idolize that character for what he was. But remember, everybody, Terry Bollea was way more like Hollywood Hulk Hogan than Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. No, he was more like the NWO version of the evil, bad person. That was more him being himself. Let's just put it that way. And being Hulk Hogan, eat your prayers and say your vitamins, that was more unnatural for him than the Hollywood Hogan character. Just so y'all know. Mo's here. Good morning. Good afternoon, Raptor Freak crew. It's not afternoon yet. It's still morning. But good to see you, Mo. I'm going to leave right now, though. Yeah, too many passing in a week. Yeah, in some ways, this is just how it goes. It's like they say there's celebrity deaths in threes. Well, they had Chuck Mangione die yesterday, too. I don't know. In some ways, just people die. It's just what happens. And, well, the MAGA world doesn't care if people die. They want people to die, whether it's changing climate change regulations, whether it's hurting healthcare costs and making it harder for people to have healthcare. There's all kinds of ways they want people to die. They want to starve people in Africa because they're not sending the aid all of a sudden again. There's all kinds of ways they want people to die, whether it's the people of Palestine. Well, it's so many people that MAGA and the Republicans and the right wing and the progressive conservatives of this country, they want people to die at this point. They don't give a shit about humanity. They call themselves pro-lifers, but they should be pro-deathers because they're all about making government more conducive for people to die. And that's it. And Hulk Hogan, in a way, is a symbol of this. The American healthcare system, a man who has all the money in the world, but you can't cheat death. You can't beat death. That's going to get you. All y'all evil MAGA motherfuckers are going to be got at some point. And that Hulk Hogan death yesterday, well, that proves it right there. That man does not leave with everything that he had on this earth. He just goes in spirit away. And who knows where he goes? I don't want to believe whatever. I don't believe in heaven or hell. In some ways, I just believe you're an organic body and you just die. In some ways, you know, some people are saying Hulk Hogan went to heaven. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. If you believe in heaven and hell, I don't know if that's true. Exactly. Yeah. Milbester's saying Trent Tucker was late 80s, early 90s. He was before I was born in 94. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you know your Knicks history, I know NBA history since 1946. Doesn't matter if I was born in 75, Milbester. You should know your history. Do you know about Earl Monroe? Do you know about Willis Reed? Do you know about Dave DeBusschere? Yeah. If you're going to be the Knicks freak, you better know all that stuff. That's right. Your team's been in the league since the very beginning. So you better go back and do your research, man, so you understand it. But vote for Zoran. That's what I say first. Yeah. Most saying, yeah, too many people passing this week. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Tomorrow, Share the Love Club, Jamal Shed, 8:30 a.m. I'll be back for that. Yeah. Thank you, Monique, for that comment. I'll try to keep up the good streams in the dead of the summer when things are absolutely difficult to figure out. I'm doing a stream on Hulk Hogan, for Pete's sake. Rest in peace to the character Hulk Hogan. In some ways, that is sad, but not totally sad about Terry Bollea's passing. No, not at all. All right. Thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Join the channel if you feel like it. Joining the channel gives you access to our Facebook group run by the superfan Monique Lawrence and our Discord server where there's all kinds of extra bonus stuff going on with the Raptor Freaks family. So, yeah. Appreciate everybody. Go Raptors, go Tempo, go Scarborough Shooting Stars, go Canadian basketball men's and women's. Yeah. Let's go 905. Let's go Scotty Barnes. Let's go Darko Rajakovic. Let's go Bobby Webster. Let's go Masai Ujiri.